Good afternoon. My name is George Tadros. I'm the instructor for the Biblical Apologetics course. I wanted to give you a little bit of background on the course, just to kind of give you a little bit of orientation, see if this is something that you as a student would be interested in signing up for. So Biblical Apologetics, it's an elective course. It can be taken as one of the electives for the biblical studies. I usually recommend that people would have taken Old Testament 1, Intro to Old Testament, as well as Intro to New Testament before taking the Biblical Apologetics, because there's a lot of foundational work done, especially in Intro to Old Testament as it comes to critical theories about biblical text, that we would come back in and discuss in Biblical Apologetics. However, the course is a relatively heavy course. I got to warn people that there's a lot of reading because we are really taking a lot of biblical apologetic topics from Old Testament and New Testament, as well as moral contemporary theories about these topics. So there's a lot of reading in it. So I tell people it's an elective, so you have to kind of brace yourself that there's a lot of reading involved in it. But in general, in Biblical Apologetics, we tackle issues that are related to apologetics when it comes to the biblical text. So going from the point of defending the text, the veracity of the text, the transmission, the manuscripts, how can we tell that the text that we have at this point, whether it's New Testament or Old Testament, is accurately representing the original text? We do tackle a little bit of the question of authorship, not as much as we've done in, let's say, Intro to Old Testament, because we consider people have already done that as part of the original course of the intro course to Old Testament. But also then we take some of the key debates in the Old Testament and New Testament when it comes to biblical apologetics. So, for example, in the Old Testament, we tackle at length the question of evolution, the question of historicity of Adam, very, very important. We tackle the question of the flood. And then very, very importantly, we tackle in the Old Testament several of the moral issues of the Old Testament, the Canaanite War, slavery, women's rights, things of that nature that are very, very heavily debated at this point in contemporary moral circles. In the New Testament, we tackle very, very critically the issue of like proof of the resurrection, proof of miracles, the existence of the supernatural in the New Testament. So all these are issues that we go kind of right and left and tackle. There is in the course, there is a research paper that you have to do, usual 8 to 10 double-spaced pages. But also there is a book review where we tell people we want people to learn how to take a book that is written either from a liberal Christian standpoint or a secular atheistic standpoint and be able to review it and critique it in some sense. So there is several kind of assignments related to this course. So in general, it's a fun course. It takes a lot of different breadth from Old Testament to New Testament to contemporary issues. There is a bit of philosophical apologetics related to it, but we don't heavily go into this part because we want to focus more on the biblical text and how to debate it and defend it in these contemporary issues. So I hope you'll find this course interesting and intriguing to you. Definitely, if you have any questions about it before registration, feel free to reach out to me by email, and definitely be more than happy to answer those questions. So God bless the choice of your next courses. And if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. Thank you.